So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of our season 2 on F1 Manager 24. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch that one in Zandvoort. We had 72 laps and it was a big struggle on the day. Oscar Piastri won the race from Carlos Sainz in P2. It was Lando Norris in P3, P14 and P22 for us. Fittipaldi had a shocking day, and to be fair, a lot of that was down to us because of our strategic decision making. All that means for the standings is that McLaren are leading the way from Red Bull. They look like they've got it sewn up just as they have done in real life. Ferrari in P3 and Aston Martin P4. We're in P9, a few points behind the likes of Williams, Alpine and Kick Sauber. Mercedes look completely out of sight now. It would take a massive turnaround for us to get P5 in the constructors. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris is leading the way from Oscar Piastri. Verstappen in P3, Leclerc's in P4. We've got Fittipaldi who's on 7 points. Hauger's just scored the solitary point at this moment in time, but this weekend we head to Monza, the Temple of Speed. 53 laps around here. It's going to be a very dry weekend indeed. The car attributes, top speed and high speed cornering, very important. This may prove a very difficult Grand Prix for us. The one stop is normally the way to go, but maybe safety cars could play into our hands. All that being said, ladies and gents, I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you in qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. End of Q1 then, final flying laps as you can see, and we are looking at Dennis Hauger. He had a spin on his first run. He's green through the first and second sectors. Where can he put this Lotus F1 car as he crosses the line? He goes provisional P13. There's still a few cars to finish. One of those is Enzo Fittipaldi as he comes round the Parabolica. Where can Fittipaldi put it? Can he put it into Q2? Liam Lawson is in the drop zone. Liam Lawson's going to be knocked out in Q1 for Ferrari. Fittipaldi is as well, but Hauger, what a lap that was. P14 into Q2. Final laps in Q2 then. Hauger again putting in a solid final lap. He put in a very good first lap, to be fair, on a scrub set of soft compound tyres, but Hauger does cross the line. It's only going to be good enough for P14. It could get a little worse depending on what Zhou Guanyu does, but Hauger is out in P14. Let's just fast forward to Q3 where we can see Lando Norris is on pole position for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Verstappen and Sainz in P2 and 3. Piastri in P4. We start P14 and P19 respectively. Let's see what we can do with the strategy. Right, ladies and gents, just one way to go on the strategy. We had a look at a 2-stop. We had a look at the soft medium, but it is definitely the medium hard, which is the way to go. So both cars will be starting on that strategy. P14, P20. Let's see what we can do.
And here's George Russell settling in for the race.
Fighting for points is definitely possible from P8. The team just needs to get their strategy right.
But just what will happen here, your guess is as good as mine. Here we are at the oldest circuit in Europe for this, the Italian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and it looks like Lando Norris got a decent launch off the start-finish line. Now let's have a look what happens here into turn 1. We'll keep an eye because it could be 3 wide going into turn 1. Verstappen looks like he's got ahead. Sainz follows in behind him. Is there going to be any crashes behind? Norris does very well to keep it in P1, but there's 2 front runners are still side by side. A lot of cars on the medium compounded tyre. There is only Lance Stroll who's on the hard. Everyone else seems to be on the medium compounded tyre, but Verstappen and Norris are still side by side through sector 1. In real life, would they manage to stay out of each other's way and not make contact? You let me know down in the comments, but Verstappen looks like he's just about got the edge, but he's still keeping his nose in round the outside, Lando Norris, and my word, this has been fantastic driving, and what a start from these two as Lando Norris finally pulls in front. Meanwhile, looking at the 2 Lotus drivers, we can see that Hauger has settled in to P13. Decent start for him, keeping in front of Logan Sargent and trying to hang on to the back of Théo Pourchaire. Enzo Fittipaldi is in P20 at the moment. We are trying to keep that DRS, and Enzo Fittipaldi is doing more than that because you can see Daniel Ricciardo, and what a move that is down the inside. Enzo Fittipaldi, beautiful work from him, and he is into P18, I believe that is, as we cut back to the live action, and we can see that Fittipaldi looking to go for a move again. He's actually looking at the back of Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson down in P17 at Monza for Ferrari. Not acceptable, you would possibly say, but we're just going to get the batteries charged up on both cars now. now again. Hauger pushing on. My word, has he got a run on these two in front. One of those of which is Alexander Albon. The other one is Nico Hülkenberg. This is for the points paying positions, and he just had to back out, and as he did, Porsche managed to get round the outside and got the move done. So Hauger down to P13, but Fittipaldi started well. Fittipaldi is going backwards rather than forwards at the minute. You can see DRS enabled, but Esteban Ocon round the outside in the Williams, managing to keep it around the outside, and that is a decent move from the French driver. He's up into P20 into turn 1. Lovely work from him. Disappointing for Fittipaldi. He's moving backwards rather than forwards at the moment, as is Liam Lawson in P19. Meanwhile, Hauger is doing his utmost to stay on the back of Théo Pourchaire, and this little battle that's emerged for P10, he's very much in the fight for a point today, is Dennis Hauger. We're quite happy with how things are going on, and my word, this is an interesting battle. It is the potential to be 4 wide as Hauger takes a look down the outside. Will he make a move into the chicane? We can see this car coming up behind as well. This is going to be some move from Dennis Hauger. We are flicking through every single camera position as we go to turn 1. He's actually lost the position. Could he possibly lose to Veste? Doesn't go for it, but Hauger does lose a position to Joe, and Sargent also was in the fight there as well. So very interesting indeed. As we go on to lap 8, Lando Norris in P1, Leclerc in P2, but Norris has got an electrical fault, but Hauger still just about in touch with the points. Dennis Hauger is dropping like a stone. My word, just look at this. He looks, oh, this must be terrifying for Hauger, as you can see all these cars just blazing past him. The Lotus looks like it is driving in an it's a different category at the moment. This Lotus car is not enjoying Monza, and he's down in P16. He looks like he's just about got DRS on Logan Sargent, but even so, look at the cars behind him now. He's got a Ferrari, the Alpines, the RB. It's not looking promising at all on lap 10. Leclerc now leads from Norris, Piastri in P3. Lap 14, and it is getting worse and worse. You can see now Liam Lawson deciding to move to the outside. You can see Hauger couldn't quite get the power down when he needed to, and then backed off a little bit. It's a very, very demoralising Grand Prix at this moment in time for Liam Lawson. Sorry, for Liam Lawson, yes, but for Hauger as well, who's now down in P17. But then again, now looking to fight back as we just come back to the live action. Look at this, my word. As we come back to the live action, we can see Hauger down in P17. He loses a position to Sargent this time, but that DRS, my word, is causing the first chicane to be quite an interesting corner for the spectators, it must be said. If you've got your ticket round there, you are getting to see some action today. We're not looking after his tyres particularly well either. We are going on to hards later on, so hopefully we can make those last. But decent start for Leclerc. Gasly now in P2. Are we rooting for Pierre Gasly today? We absolutely are. We've got a crash on circuit. We're just keeping an eye on what's happened here. It's Zhou Guanyu into turn 1. Does he make contact with the RB? He certainly does. Didn't look too bad, it must be said. There was a little bit of debris, but not enough to bring out a safety car, which might have benefited us, to be fair. But Gasly now leads the Grand Prix from Carlos Sainz. Maybe a nod to the past of these F1 Manager episodes, seeing Pierre Gasly leading the Grand Prix in an Aston Martin. But Hauger's still in P17. Just keep in touch with Sargent. Fittipaldi is dead last. You join us back on lap 18, where we have decided to roll the dice a little bit with Enzo Fittipaldi. Hauger's doing okay at the minute. He's sticking in with the battle for P12, but we are going to switch Fittipaldi onto a 2-stop, use the fresh soft compound tyres, and see what we can do. A 2.4 second stop. We will take that all day long, ladies and gentlemen. We're quite happy with that. So now Fittipaldi comes out right at the back. Can he use these tyres to get himself back in the fight? Apparently, according to the data, it's going to be a couple of seconds slower, but we had to try something. Lap 18. It must be said that has been a difficult stint for Hauger. We've got a few cars coming into the pits. Vesti and Ocon following Hauger in. Fittipaldi is pumping in some decent lap times at the moment, but still not as fast as the leaders on very, very used medium compound tyres. That's a decent stop again. 2.6 seconds for the Team Lotus team. Now, where is Fittipaldi in all this? I'm guessing he's coming down the start-finish straight. He certainly is. And he has got behind him, that is Zhou Guanyu. As you can see, his teammate trundling out of the pit. So Fittipaldi Fittipaldi pushing on now, defending well, it must be said, into the first chicane. We're happy with that. Hauger comes out ahead of Sargent. Is he coming out ahead of Sargent? Sargent dives down the outside. Can Hauger hold this? He's got a fight on pit exit. Didn't quite manage to do it, but can now fight on these fresh hard tyres. These are going to the end. Fittipaldi has got another stop to go. We've got some of the leaders coming into the pits. We come back just as there's a yellow flag on circuit and a safety car's being deployed. My word, how interesting could this be? We'll come back very shortly to see what happened. Fittipaldi is in to the pits just as we're going to see what happened with his safety car. It looks like Hulkenberg just getting up the ghost, whether it's a power unit or what. We didn't really get to see what happened there, but Hulkenberg has retired from this Grand Prix. We felt this necessary now to get Fittipaldi into the box for a fresh set of hard compound tyres. All this has done has meant that towards the end of the Grand Prix, Fittipaldi will be in a very strong position. It must be said as well, Gasly and Stroll, this has worked beautifully for, because they're going to get a cheap pit stop here, both cars, and should come out leading the Grand Prix on the best tyres. Fittipaldi will come out dead last, but on the best tyres towards the back of the pack. We are ready for what promises to be a very, very decent second half of this Grand Prix, because Pierre Gasly and Lance Stroll leading the way for the Aston Martins. Gasly's on the hards, Lance Stroll's on the mediums. Could Lance Stroll win this Grand Prix? Meanwhile, in terms of Team Lotus, Hauger, he's on P16 at the minute. He's looked after his tyres, but still struggling a little bit. Whereas Fittipaldi, oh my word, how close was Verstappen for taking Stroll out there. And Max Verstappen, my word, Stroll runs wide. Oh, Lance Stroll. If you were Aston Martin's team principal, how disappointed would you be that Lance Stroll got himself in such a position and then caved under the pressure of that turn one attack from Max Verstappen? Meanwhile, we've got at the front Verstappen. He's all over the back of Pierre Gasly. What can he possibly do today? Hauger in P16 sets off quite nicely, and Fittipaldi just getting these tyres in to the window. Hauger has got some underfloor damage, some minor underfloor damage, but it's not affecting him at the moment because he's just managed to get past one of the kick salvers, and he forced him very, very wide as well. And you can see Fittipaldi is just biding his time at the bike. I sense towards the end this could be very, very decent for Fittipaldi. Vesti's now in front of Hauger, who is on full attack mode here, as you can see, trying to get down the inside. But Vesti looks like he's got him covered off. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the move here. Is he under pressure from the outside? He certainly is. You can see he's got an Alpine there. Is he going to run wide? No, he keeps his nose in. Does Dennis Hauger, and then he backs off. My word, I'd expect a little bit more aggression there from our young driver. Meanwhile, Fittipaldi in P20 is loving this fighting in front, because it does mean that he might be able to get some moves started a little bit in a little moment or so. I just seen a yellow flag in sector 1. Are we going to get a view of what that was? It doesn't look like we are. There's still a yellow flag on circuit. It's going to be Daniel Ricciardo spinning. Let's have a little look at this. He was behind the Toyota in P14 and then spins off. Manages to get it just about back on track, Daniel Ricciardo, but that is a disappointing moment for him in P14. He now drops to P15. Hauger P18 and Fittipaldi down in P20. Fittipaldi is on the march here. Let's have a little look at this. You can see Hauger's now dropped towards the bike, but down the inside of that chicane. Beautiful work. And as we cut back to the live action, it's not just the kick salver that he's managed to overtake. He's now on the back of Daniel Ricciardo after managing to get past Yuki Tsunoda. He is quite a little bit away from the points paying positions, but at the moment Fittipaldi is on the charge. Lap 43, we're going to have a little rundown in a moment, but Fittipaldi back up with Daniel Ricciardo, managing to get past him. Lovely work from Fittipaldi. Everyone else's tyres are dying. Fittipaldi's on at this moment in time. As we cut back to the live action, we can see that in front it is the usual suspects of Max Verstappen, who is leading this Grand Prix with the fastest lap from Carlos Sainz. Leclerc is in P3, then comes Gasly and Stroll in 4th and 5th. Russell P6 and Norris is struggling with his car in P7. Bottas in P8, Lawson P9 and Perez in P10. Fittipaldi now is maybe around 10 seconds away from the points, but with far superior tyres than the cars in front of him. You never know where this might take us, as he just looks like he's managed to get past Théo Pourchaire, but he will be under quite a bit of pressure down the start-finish straight. Let's see what happens here. There's a few cars chasing Enzo Fittipaldi. All have got DRS. He hasn't. What will be the move here? Fittipaldi, he's down the middle. We've got 2 cars swamping him, and there's just nothing you can do here. He manages to cut off one V car, manages to push the other one wide, just loses the position to Pourchaire.
Able to take a look.
We're making a real fist of this towards the end here. Dennis Hauger, you can see, managing to get past the kick Sauber of, I believe that's Vesti. We'll double check that as we come back towards the live action. We're getting towards the final couple of laps here, but Enzo Fittipaldi doing a fantastic job. He's now in the fight with Zhou Guanyu. He's got the tyres. I would expect that Fittipaldi manages to get him on this final lap. Hauger, 3.2 seconds. He's got a defensive job to do, and he's got to fight off Frederick Vesti behind us. Straight away, he's under pressure. Let's keep an eye on what happens here. We can see that Vesti has managed to get him, but he might be in a better position as he gets towards that final DRS zone. Fair play to him, but Fittipaldi also managed to get past Zhou Guanyu. Now, could he push away here? We don't get to see that replay as of yet. I'm hoping by the time he gets to the next DRS zone that Fittipaldi's managed to break the DRS, and that's what we're going to tell him to do now, Fittipaldi, because if he can just about hang on here, that would be ideal. He's by far got the better tyres on Zhou and Ricardo, but Hauger looking at the back of Vesti. We're going to follow it on this final lap. Verstappen's got this one from Sainz. You can see that as we push on, Verstappen down at the start-finish straight. Great work from him. What can Fittipaldi do? And final lap of the Grand Prix, Fittipaldi's got P13, but Hauger is still under immense pressure from two cars behind him. They've both pushed on with great effect here. Fittipaldi comes around the Parabolica. He's got the job done, but Dennis Hauger is having to fight all the way to the line here against the two kick Saubers. Fittipaldi's had a fantastic race, it must be said, but here comes around the final corner Dennis Hauger, and he will get P17 on the day. That has been a decent performance from Enzo Fittipaldi. Verstappen will be exceptionally happy, but a good recovery drive from the young Brazilian driver. Let's get to the podium.
Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
4 superb wins to their name now this year, and it's been a pleasure watching them drive.
A pleasure watching them drive, and Max Verstappen will have enjoyed that one because the Aston Martins were looking in a very decent position at one point during that race. But as you can see, Verstappen gets the fastest lap as well. 26 points for Verstappen today. Leclerc in P2 and Sainz P3. Aston Martins P4 and 5. Could it possibly have been more? Let me know down in the comments. Bottas and Russell P6 and 7. Perez gained 13 positions on the day. Lawson finished outside of the points at the home Grand Prix. Not good for him. Whereas Fittipaldi gained 7 positions and Hauger got P17. Driver standings wise, it means Lando Norris only scores 4 points on the day, but he's still well clear of his teammate Oscar Piastri. Verstappen 266 now. He's joining the fight once again. Stroll goes above Russell in the driver standings, and there were no points for either of the Team Lotus drivers. Constructor standings wise, McLaren get 5 points on the day. Red Bull in P2 extend their lead over Ferrari in P3, and Aston Martin still chasing Ferrari for that P3 in the constructors. We stay where we are. It was Alpine who scored the points on the day in the lower reaches of the constructor standings. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one. Ta-ra.